Melody, it's fantastic to meet you.
It's good to meet you too, Anjie.
Yeah, such a pleasure.
It's a pleasure too.
Thank you.
Welcome to Uganda.
Thank you, my first time.
Really?
First time.
You better have your fun, you know.
And I come with blessings from the Lampeter Permaculture group.
Thank you. You guys already sponsored my...
Yes.
You know, I got that scholarship and
yes.
It was so exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because looking at the situation we have today, we are... first of all, I would love to talk about myself. I'm a lover of young people getting engaged in development.
Yes.
But then you realize that there is an aspect of you developing human capital, but then forgetting about the environment.
Yes.
Yet the environment is a very key aspect in enabling that we live sustainably, because if you're growing the people,
yes,
what will these people rely on?
Yes.
Because you talk about good health, you talk about a good environment. At the end of the day, it is the environment. So permaculture comes at the right time for me.
Ah,
yeah.
Fabulous. Well, let me tell you a little bit about us.
Okay.
So I'm a permaculture teacher.
Nice.
And I moved to Wales in 1997.
Wow.
Wanted to teach permaculture.
Long.
And I was a little bit lonely the first couple of years because it's a very rural area, and my husband and I didn't know any other permaculturalists. But in the year 2000, I and some other teachers taught permaculture for the first time in that area where I live.
How easy was it?
Yeah, everybody came. Everybody
Nice.
came from the local area. And when the course finished, the people on the course said, we don't want this to stop. Let's form a group.
Right.
So that was the year 2000, and we created the Lampeter Permaculture group.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's gone from strength to strength. And every month we meet, and maybe 20, 25 people come together to work like in gardens like this, and give 2 hours of their time, but all together, chatting, social networks go on, learning, and then we all bring, after that 2 hours work, we all bring food to share, and then we have a meeting.
Nice.
Yeah.
So for me, when it comes to permaculture, I think it's quite a new concept, but for quite some time, the people around me had already been doing it ignorantly.
Yeah.
A lot
without
of
knowing.
Yeah, trust me, there's still a huge chunk of people out there that are doing the same things, but they don't really know that this is what they're doing is permaculture.
Yes.
And of course, they lack a little more basics to enhance it and make it a complete permaculture set. So someone called Charles Mugarura,
Yes.
who is the CEO of Broadfield Enterprises Uganda,
Yes.
for which I head the education and programs department currently, is one that introduced permaculture to me. And before I used to pronounce it as permaculture.
Permaculture.
Yeah, but I got it right, permaculture. So that was in... before, he had been telling me about how he's growing trees and he wants me to get engaged in what he was doing. That was in 2015,
Yes.
when I just left school, but I hadn't graduated from Makerere University Business School.
Yeah.
Him and I met on an essay writing competition under the Barclays Bank Young Leaders Mentorship Program.
Yes.
So he thought maybe we could work well together.
Yes.
Because I love public speaking.
Yes.
I love to do that,
Yes.
marketing and stuff.
Yes.
So he thought he could introduce permaculture to me. So when he invited me for our first meeting and he asked me to chair the meeting, that was last year, 2017.
Yeah.
Good thing I already had an idea of the global goals.
Yes.
So when he told me what permaculture is all about, I looked at how permaculture connected and interlinked to the rest of the global goals, and I felt it really connected to all the global goals.
Yes.
You see that? And that came immediately after I'd just gotten back from DC. I went to represent the young people of this country at the World Bank Spring Meetings.
DC is
District of Columbia.
Yeah.
So Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the questions that was asked during the interview here in the World Bank Country Office was, how would you convince a border rider to take up agriculture? And my answer was simple: urban farming. And little did I know urban farming was part of permaculture.
Urban farming.
Yes, because
yes.
at the end of the day, you could still live in an urban place. You don't really have that huge chunk of land. You don't really have that large spaces. Permaculture teaches you how to maximally utilize the resources you have around you in a small space. So that's how I get to learn permaculture. And thank God, you people came around and got me the scholarship to come and take my first PDC. It's my first time.
Really?
And yeah, it's my first time and I'm loving it. You know?
Good.
Yeah, I came on day 2. Unfortunately, I didn't take the observe and learn. So I came during the catch and restore. It was so amazing and so exciting. I learned a lot.
Oh,
and I realized that these things are just simple and easy. That is when I started to rethink our government's policy in their Operation Wealth Creation strategy to get the people, because Uganda is basically microeconomy. So you find that majority of the people are doing agriculture in small scale. And then also the practices that we use, take an example, the people here are using NPK fertilizer, which is a chemical. And one of the tutors during the lessons told us how NPK, if someone dropped a little water in it, you'd see heat getting out and you'd feel it burning your fingers a little. And the question was, if you feel that heat, what makes you think the soil does not feel it? So we are slowly destroying the soil. But I believe the government can twist its policy around to get us natural. We can make our own compost, we can make our own fertilizer from droppings from the animals, and then find a way of feeding the animals as the animals also feed what we feed on. So for me, thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
Well, I think from what I've seen of Uganda, and I've only been here a week, you are a much better starting point than we are in the UK, because you know the average age of a farmer in the UK is 68. Right? Young people don't want to farm. Young people think that farming is uneconomic, it's boring, because they spend their time on a machine all day if they're trying to go around their cows and their sheep. And we have a lot of intensive farming. What I've seen in Uganda so far is a lot of small farms, like you said, micro businesses, and the way it seems to me that I'm hearing that permaculture can help them to continue what they like doing and not be on the edge of poverty.
Yes, well, that same particular attitude is cropping up among the young people. Majority young people have grown up in families that have been depending on agriculture. And then we have seen our parents toil in the sun for hours and hours trying to grow crops to ensure we went to school. And to a young person today, you tell them about agriculture and they're like, I'm not going to stay poor. I want to go to that office, you know, that AC condition versus the sun. And someone's like, I spent 19 years in school, from nursery to university. What makes you think I'm going to get into that scorching sun? To burn myself?
And also to not see that permaculture is a form of agriculture, you know, permanent agriculture. And so permaculture, we say, is very imagination intensive. It's very creative, and you spend 99% of your time observing, thinking, creating, and then the 1% is the doing.
That is the same thing. A few weeks ago, I introduced permaculture to the Foundation for Human Rights Initiative. So they went to take a survey, because it's just mainly a human rights organization offering some pro bono services. So they went and looked out for market vendors in particular to find out some of their challenges in meeting some of their rights and having their rights fulfilled. And in their survey, they found out that the general problem was poverty, because these women say they lacked legal aid. Some of these women could not afford the legal aid itself. Some of these women were being battered. They were being violated by their husbands. And some of them could not afford to take their children to school. So the Foundation for Human Rights assessed the whole problem and zeroed it down to poverty. And then when they were thinking of how they could go and ensure that these people live a better life, they thought economic empowerment. And during my university time, I was the vice president for the Foundation for Human Rights in my university, so they had to invite me over because they knew I had already trained farmers before, but not in permaculture and just basic agriculture skills.
Yeah.
So when I told them about permaculture, they were so excited. Up to now, they keep looking at this new word, and you know, before I could explain to them anything more, I told them permaculture is simply a self-sustainable and sufficient regenerative agriculture.
Yes.
So I would just Google the pictures and show them. They're like, wow.
Yeah.
Just the pictures, they're like, wow. And I'm like, that's okay. So we're going to implement it for the next 2 years.
Yes.
We're going to have that implemented in Eastern Uganda with our women vendors.
Oh,
So
fantastic. Well, I hope that we'll be able to have links. You know, the Lamberton Permaculture Group were very clear that they didn't just want to give money to this course and not know who was benefiting. And they wanted to have a relationship with whoever. And there's also another person, so we have sponsored, the group has sponsored you, and there are 2 more people here sponsored through a member of the Permaculture Group. So 3 people have benefited from the Lamberton Permaculture Group. And I know that you're passionate about young people.
Yes,
Charles came to speak to the Permaculture Group when you came to the UK. And that's how really he was able to engage people and explain what was happening over here. And through his enthusiasm, that's how Lamberton Permaculture Group came to say, yes, we would like to support this.
thank you.
So I think there'll be a lot of interest in not only this course, but what you are doing as a young person.
Oh, nice.
And maybe we can keep in touch if, you know, through social media or whatever. I think a lot of people will be interested in what you're doing.
I'm sure they will, because for me, I'm on a mission. I'm an advocate for young people engaged in development.
Yes.
But there is no way I can engage them into development when our environment is not sustainable.
Yeah, exactly.
And well, mine zeroes down to human rights. Some of these rights are inherent. The right to food, the right to breathe,
Yes,
the right to life.
yes,
The question is, how can we have food when the ground cannot support the food?
yeah,
How can we have people breathing when our air is so polluted with all these industrious gases around, machines running around? How can we have that happen? Right now, I'm a co-founder of a huge network of young people who are engaged in fulfilling the various sustainable development goals, and my intent to bring them together is to realize that in whatever they're engaged in, they are supporting somebody. A peaceful living is what we need to have, because at the end of the day, we are fighting, we are at war with our environment.
Yes.
How can we sustainably have peace
Yes.
when we are not at peace with our own environment?
Yeah,
That
of
is a
course.
first step to fulfilling goal 16, because
Absolutely.
besides everything else, I'm a Commonwealth Youth Peace Ambassador.
Yes.
So I preach peace.
You do a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
You've done
yeah,
a lot of stuff in your
love-
young life. I
Well,
love your energy and
thanks.
your enthusiasm.
I just want to see the world a better place to live in, at whatever cost. But my strategy as a person is that we need to shape the attitudes of the people. We need to ensure that the human capital that we really want to generate, the taxes, if we are to build our economy, is shaped in a way that we understand ourselves very well. As we're trying to understand ourselves as human beings, how well do we understand the environment and
Yes.
live at peace with our environment?
Yes.
And for me, permaculture has just come at the right time.
Good.
And when I'm preaching the permaculture gospel out there, because a lot of noise is being made about climate change, climate change, climate change, why aren't the people told what exactly they can do? Because some of these terms are so huge. You look at graphs and you're like, how do you expect a native person to understand that particular graph?
Yeah.
I don't care. I will tell them, heap this nursery bed, drop a seedling in there, mulch it, make some compost for yourself, and slowly by slowly we'll learn and get to where we want to be collectively, not leaving anyone behind.
Yeah. That's what a fabulous last sentence, Melody.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to spending the rest of the course with you.
thank
Can you
you.
stay for the convergence?
Convergence, I hope to stay around.
I hope
Yeah,
you will. I hope you
have
will.
to stay
Okay,
around.
yeah, it's a real pleasure. Thank you for this opportunity to
Thank
talk
you
to
so
you.
much,
And,
Angie.
yeah,
Thank you.
and I say much blessings and greetings from Lamberton Permaculture Group.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Regards to them.
Yes.
I'm so grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Cheers. Thanks.
Cheers.
Thanks.